Welcome, Ruth. It's
Hello, Ian.
nice to see you again. You hardly need any introduction these days to our Devon Book Club community. It feels like you've become such a big part of us over the last 12 months or more. So this is the sixth step in what has been, we're planning a 7-step journey towards your publication day. And the first 5, just a quick reminder for people, in the first 5, we talked about the 18-year journey that it took you to write the book in the first place, beginning with nighttime, the imagination of the book, the inception of the book at nighttime, right the way through to how you wrote the book, how you found your agent and then the publisher, and the process that you went through to find the title and the cover and prepare the first draft. So we've been through it. We've covered that in either your written pieces previously or in the other video diaries that you've produced. And tonight we want to talk about the final phase, don't we, in the lead up to publication day itself, what's happened since.
Yes.
So let's begin, shall we? Because where we left it last, I think, was the advanced proof copies were just being finalised, and then after that, the publishers started sending it to bloggers and reviewers. So tell us about that.
That's right, yes. So that was, it was last summer when I was on the Isle of Wight that I started to get all the reviews coming in, which was great. So I think one of the first reviews that came in was from Jill Mansell, who just loved it, and she's been tweeting about it since then, and other authors who've enjoyed it. And they also put it up on NetGalley, which is a place for official book bloggers to leave reviews. And some of the reviews there, a lot of the reviews there were great, brilliant 5-star reviews. So it was really exciting to read those. I loved reading them all. I loved to see what people thought about the book and what touched them, what moved them, and how they were moved.
So a large number of people, you probably had quite a range of feedback, did you?
Yes, it's difficult to know how that works, really. I think they printed out about 500 and sent these out to what they call their long leads and then their short leads. So not all of them come back. And I expect the ones that come back are the good ones. So all of the reviews that I were getting back were really good.
Which is lovely. But I mean, what's it? I mean, presumably along the way, you've also had some people that have given you less positive feedback. I mean, is that something as a writer that you welcome?
Yeah, that's interesting actually, because I like getting all the different reviews, and in fact, I quite like getting the reviews that criticise it more than 3-star reviews that tell me how I could have done it better. I find them really interesting to read. And there was one review that I found very interesting that said I should have told it all chronologically instead of having all these flashbacks and different perspectives. And I thought, well, yeah, it would have been a lot easier to tell it like that, actually, but not as exciting, I think. But it's interesting to see what different readers think. And writing the second book, I've really taken into account the reviews from the first book, actually.
Have you? That's interesting. So that's changed the way you've written.
Yeah, what they really enjoyed about the first book is really interesting. And I think what came across from reading the different reviews was that what people really enjoyed about While Paris Slept was how much it moved them. And I think that's a big pull for a book, is the emotional impact it has. I hadn't quite realised how important that was. And it's not always evident to bring that into a book. It just happened with While Paris Slept because it started really with the ending in a way. So it always started with that huge emotional impact.
And when you were writing,
a lot of readers are looking for that, I think.
Yeah. When you were writing the first book and maybe the second one as well, do you have in your mind what you hope a reader's going to take from it when they finish it?
Yes, I think I write more selfishly than that, and I think about what I would like to read, actually.
Right. And whilst those reviews are going on, of course, the publishers were also promoting the book in other countries, and so the blogging's going on, the reviews are happening, and meanwhile you're being contacted because different countries were picking the book up. So what was that all like?
That was amazing. Yes, I just get emails every now and again to say, oh, this country has just made an offer, and I had to approve it every time a country made an offer, which I always did. And yeah, they kept coming in. And I remember when Germany acquired it and they wanted both books. And that, to me, Germany acquiring it was a really big deal, considering it was to do with World War II. So I was really, really pleased when they got it. And France too. I really wanted France to get it, and they've got it. And it's already been translated into French now. I've just heard from the French translator. She already translated it last summer, and it's coming out on the 28th of April, sorry.
Oh, wow,
in French.
yeah. And because the other thing that I noticed, it's on your website actually, you've got all the different covers, haven't you, for different countries, and they've chosen quite different covers.
Yeah.
And I wondered whether does that mean that different countries want a kind of different product, and they're looking for you to make adjustments to the draft to fit with, I don't know, a cultural view, or what happens?
Yeah, I think there are huge cultural differences between the way they market books in different countries. The text doesn't change ever. The story is exactly the same word for word. Well, they translate it. I don't know how they translate it exactly. But the covers are all very different. I've just seen the French cover, and they've changed the title to L'Enfant du Train. And it pictures, it's a very different picture. They're very French. The Italian cover is very Italian. The Portuguese cover is, they have I think the stereotypes of what a woman during World War II would have looked like. And it was very interesting to get the UK cover, which was beautiful. Pictured a lone woman on the platform, a beautiful woman. And the women on each cover are very, I would say, very cultural.
Yeah. That's tremendous. I just think it's really curious, and it will be fascinating because you've not been able to do this with all the the global lockdown, but the potential for you to go on tours maybe around the world to all these different countries at some point and be in conversation with in that different cultural context. I mean, is that something that's in your mind? You hoping that could be possible?
I'd love to do that. I really want to get to Santa Cruz because that's where the book starts. And I've never been to Santa Cruz. I looked it all up on internet and talked to people who had lived there.
Yeah.
And I'm dying to get there and see what it's really like, and get to a bookshop there and give a talk and an interview and see how the book's going down there.
Are you getting reactions?
Really well in Australia. Sorry, it's doing well in Australia. So I'd really like to get to Australia. I've never been to Australia. My book got there before I did.
Yeah.
So I'd love to get there and see it in the shops.
And there were some lovely pictures on launch day, I remember, of people with a hand in front of the Sydney Harbour Bridge with the book. Tell us about the few days before the actual launch itself, and then what it's like and what's happening on the day. Because I guess for writers listening to this, they're all going to have their own debut story or even their subsequent book stories. Readers must wonder, I wonder, what's it like? You created this product and now it's out of your control and stuff's happening. Tell us.
That's exactly it. It's out of your control. And when you can't control something, it becomes a little bit stressful in a way. And I didn't understand why I was just a bag of nerves leading up to the launch date. And I spoke to my agent, Sheila Crawley, and she was just wonderful. She really was there to support me and tell me this was perfectly normal. And she had another author who was a famous actor, and then his book came out, and he was a bag of nerves before. And he said to her, I feel like I'm walking naked through the streets. Wow. And that was such a good way to put it, because that's exactly how I felt. I felt so exposed. Everybody out there was going to be able to read what I had written. My fellow teachers at school, people who had, anyone. And when you write a book, well, for me, so much of myself is in that book that you do feel like you're out there, totally exposed, naked to the world.
Actually, I suppose for the second book must feel quite different, doesn't it? Because I imagine that writing the first book almost on your own terms until an agent and publisher gets hold of it is one thing. To write a second book when they're part of the inception of it and development, is that very different as the writer?
It's a very different experience, actually. The first book, I only wrote it when I was really in the mood to write it. It was a hobby, let's say. And so I enjoyed every minute of writing it. And then the second book, there are deadlines. People are expecting something. And it puts a different kind of perspective onto it. It's great that they're behind me. I love the fact that both my agent and the publisher are really with me, working with me on this, and I can speak to them every week if I want to. They're wanting to know what I'm doing, how it's going, and I love that, and I love their feedback. But at the same time, there is that sense of pressure that I didn't have with the first book, and it's a different experience in that way. And they're expecting me to deliver something, whereas with the first book, you're writing whatever you like for yourself.
They have been a fabulous team, haven't they? Right from the word go.
Brilliant.
That's something that's come across very clearly from everything.
Yes, yeah, I've been very lucky to have Sheila Crawley as my agent. She's been wonderful and so supportive, and she got me the best deal. And then Cherise Hobbs at Headliners. I think she really understands what makes good story, and she's always wanted the best to get the best out of me, to get the best for the book. And it's just wonderful to be able to work with professionals like that. Very lucky.
So in terms of what's happened since publication day itself, then we talked briefly about pictures popping up, the book in front of the Eiffel Tower, Sydney Harbour Bridge in America, all over the place. I mean, what was perhaps the final question for this diary entry? What's the reaction been like, and what's it been like suddenly being invited to bookshop talks in the States, and how's that been for you? Has that made it real for you? What's it like?
Yeah, I love doing the interviews, actually, because I love talking about this book. It has, for me, it took me 18 years to write it. It was a real labour of love, and I love talking about it, so I just enjoy the interviews. And I've received emails, messages on Facebook from people I've lost touch with, people I haven't spoken to for 30 years.
Wow.
Saying they've read it and they've loved it, and they're sharing it in their book club. And I'm doing quite a lot of Zoom book clubs with friends that have book clubs. So the whole network of people who love reading is wonderful. It's wonderful to know that it's reaching readers like this, and they're enjoying it. That's the most rewarding thing.
Well, I mean, let's finish this section just by saying again a huge congratulations to you for producing what is a wonderful book, and it's doing very well, and I know it's going to do even better as time goes by. We've loved having these diary entries. I think they've been a lot of fun.
Well, it's been interesting to go back over the process, because it's been a process of 3 years since I found the agents. Since I found Sheila Crawley at Curtis Brown to getting published was at least 3 years. So it's been a long journey, and a lot of it's been mixed up for me. So it's been interesting to put it all in order and work out exactly what happened along the way.
The final step in the diary is going to be what? What are we going to do for step 7?
I think I'll just, I'd like to read from the book. I know the audiobook is a much better reading than I will give you, but it'd be fun to read from it.
But I think that's a lovely thing. It's always lovely when the writer reads for us.
But the audiobook is like listening to a film. They act it out. It's so good.
We'll look forward to having the reading then in our final diary entry. It's the final diary entry for this book, because I think what I'm hoping will happen is other writers, your diary will trigger thoughts from them. They'll talk to us in our community about their experience. Yeah. Readers, I hope, will come forward and ask you their own questions about what it's like.
Or other people who are interested in writing. I have had a few emails from other writers asking me how long it took to find an agent, that sort of thing. And I always welcome these questions, because I know, having gone through it, how difficult it is to find an agent and how much help you need along the way.
For all those who now are anticipating your work, I hope it's not going to take 18 years until it comes out.
Well, my deadline actually, Ian, is the end of April. So let's hope.
It's in sight then. Okay. Well, look, Ruth, thanks ever so much. That's lovely to talk to you now. We look forward to the reading in the next and final stage of this diary.
Okay, I look forward to that. Thank you, Ian.
Yeah, bye for now.
Bye.